States in 1850, soon after gold was discovered. George Hearst bought 3 ranchos and continued to run cattle on the hilly expanses above the Pacific. And 150 years later, this is still a family cattle ranch. The Hearst Corporation runs over 2,000 head of grass-fed beef on these hills today, largely black and red Angus. The cattle graze much as they always have, and depending on the season, you may see them along the hillsides. William Randolph Hearst was 56 in 1919 when his mother Phoebe died, his father having passed away earlier. William inherited this land he had loved nearly all his life, and immediately hired a talented and singular architect, Julia Morgan, whose firm was located in San Francisco. Hearst was overheard walking into Miss Morgan's office and announcing he was tired of camping in tents. "I'm getting a little old for that. I'm thinking of building a little something." Well, his little something became this estate of more than 165 rooms, and he chose to build it on the hill which had served as his family's original campsite. Julia Morgan's first challenges were to make a road from the old bridle path, and also to bring water from the natural springs that were located on a mountain almost 6 miles east of this hilltop. To this day, water provided to the estate comes from the same 1.5 million gallon reservoir built by Miss Morgan and Mr. Hearst in the 1930s. Some of it is stored in tanks atop the castle's bell towers. You may also glimpse a 16 million gallon reservoir recently built by the Hearst Corporation to provide water for the current family ranch operation. The Mediterranean climate of this region brings hot, dry summers and cool, wet winters, a perfect setting for the native oak trees known as coastal live oaks, or Quercus agrifolia. These are the large trees we pass, which have spreading low branches, small dark green leaves, and rough brown bark. Mr. Hearst and Miss Morgan designed the road to wind around the trees, some of which are more than 300 years old. On the hilltop, they sited the buildings around the oaks, and occasionally even moved a massive oak out of the way as the castle grew. You'll notice the hillsides are also covered with grasses. With the winter rains, these grasses turn a rich green. In the summer and fall, they change color to a golden brown. Mr. Hearst filled these pastures with his exotic zoo animals. In his day, guests traveling this road would have passed by antelopes, yaks, giraffes, llamas, water buffalo, bison, and more than 100 other species. Most are gone now, but in addition to the audads, today you might see sambar deer and Roosevelt elk mingled with the cattle. Keep watching, and you may also glimpse some animals native to the area, including deer, foxes, and coyotes, as well as the large black birds that soar through the skies, known as turkey vultures. The views of the coastline can be quite spectacular on clear days. So too are the views of the twin-towered structure Hearst and Julia Morgan called Casa Grande, which means big house in Spanish, now commonly referred to as the castle. The road was designed so the castle would appear and disappear as you climb higher. Upon reaching the top of the knoll, we will travel through a landscaped area filled with fruit trees, which supplied some of the food in Hearst's time at the ranch. He grew nearly all his food on site, including beef, poultry, dairy products, and fruits and vegetables. You may also see on the left the remains of a columned arbor known as the pergola. It was a path for walking or riding through on horseback. Its columns were planted with fruit trees, apples, quince, plums, cherries, peaches, and apricots, among others, and it was canopied with grapes. At over a mile in length, It was laughingly referred to by Julia Morgan as the longest pergola in captivity.